outside on the microscope, right? Here's the anterior gray horn. That's where this would be, and it goes out. Now, how can I tell if this is a motor neuron?
Schwann cells.
Has Schwann cells, okay? That tells me it's peripheral. But you can have Schwann cells around sensory neurons too. How can we know it's not a sensory neuron?
They call us gap junctions.
Somebody else. Maybe one of my students might know something.
What did you say?
How can we know?
How can we tell this is not a sensory neuron? Come on. God. Okay, Dr. Bloom's student.
And since you know it's either unipolar or bipolar, if it's in the middle or unipolar.
So sensory neurons are usually unipolar. They're usually unipolar with the cell bodies here. Occasionally they're bipolar, the eye, the ear, the nose. Okay? But this is not unipolar, right? What do I mean by unipolar anyway? Let's make sure we better go back a step. One process coming out of the cell body. Sometimes they call it pseudo-unipolar because it's thought that they're probably formed from bipolar that fused together. Bipolar would have two. How many are coming out of this cell body?
Many.
Quite a few, right?
Many.
Okay.
Multiple.
So this is multipolar. Now multipolar can also be association neurons. How do I know it's not an association neuron? You want to raise your hand? Let's see if anybody else. Come on. This is one student from Dr. Bloom's class against all of you from my class, making me look really bad. And I know I've covered this before, including yesterday and the day before, I think, and last week, and in class. Okay, association neurons are found where? Huh?
In the CNS, I think.
They're found in the CNS, the central nervous system. How do we know this is not from the central nervous system?
Schwann cells.
Schwann cells, so it's in the peripheral. Okay, everybody got that? Fine. Okay, another question people miss sometimes. What's this again?
Dendrite?
No, it's not a dendrite.
Synapse.
This is the axon terminal and synaptic end bulbs from other neurons coming in.
I made the same mistake.
Neuron here.
This would all feel bad.
So this kind of circuit is, what kind of circuit is this when they all come into one guide?
It converges.
Converging circuit, okay. So the dendrites are these guys here. These are the dendrites. Now the most common thing is for axodendritic, that kind of conduction. Chemical synapses, one direction, okay? But we can also have axosomatic or axoaxonic. Do they all have the same effect? No, because this is not a real action potential until we get to the axon hillock, okay? Before that, things can die out. And the further away you are, the less effect. It's like the waves dying out, okay? So this would have the most effect, everything else being equal. This is what? Nucleus.
Smooth
ER.
or RFER.
RFER is called something else special. Missile bodies or chromatophilic substance.
Thank you.
And the yellow are lysosomes.
Lysosomes.
And what do they sometimes have a yellowish brown?
The poopy
Yeah,
area.
what I call lysosomal poop. Or lipofusin, okay? I've not put lysosomal poop on the test, okay? What's missing, though, from here, that you might expect? No centrioles. Why not?
Not mitotic.
Non-mitotic, okay. What is this thing called? Axon, okay? So we said this is a Schwann cell. How can we tell this is a Schwann cell versus an oligodendrocyte? Yeah, we see the nucleus out here. So the inner wrappings are called the myelin sheath. And the outer portion, all the rest of the cytoplasm and the nucleus are pushed to the outside. That's called the neurolemma. And that acts like a guide, so that helps in repair. You don't get that in the central nervous system. You only get that in the peripheral. Peripheral nervous system has some repair. Central nervous system has very little repair. Okay, and astrocytes actually gum up the works too, scar tissue, and we don't have this neurolemma because what myelinates in the central nervous system? Oligodendrocytes. Okay, and they kind of wrap around. I think it was like an octopus. The nucleus stays separate under the head of the octopus, and the little tentacles wrap around. Okay. And what's this called?
Endoneurium.
Endoneurium. So coming down here, this acts like insulation. So we can't get an exchange of ions across there. We can't get the nerve impulse going across this area here. So it has to jump. And this should have a space here. Maybe it can come too close together. There should be a little space here, because what's this called?
No, the wrong view.
Neuron or neurofibril node. So it has to jump from node to node, which makes things faster. It makes it faster and more efficient. And what kind of conduction is that called?
Saltatory conduction.
Saltatory. Saltatory means to leap versus continuous conduction. Okay. What else do we have here? So this is the lower motor neuron, right? So this is the last part of that pyramidal tracts and stuff like that. Okay, that's about it, I think.